I agree.
It might be the best DLC that Borderlands has. Like it's really good. Though I really enjoyed, even though it was short, I really liked the Sir Hammerlock's wedding one. Spoilers. He's getting married.
Oh. Is he getting married to Moxie?
No. Hammerlock is gay. No, he's not getting married.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Definitely gay. Definitely not getting married to Moxie. He's getting married to crap, I forget his name. Yeah, the Jacobs guy.
Brother.
Yeah. And I was super excited for that because Jacobs is my favorite brand. So I was like, wait,
that's my
I get to go
brand.
like you're right. I get to go like meet the guy who makes those. Hell yeah. The Jacobs guy is gonna hand me a Jacobs gun. This is it. I win. Yep. I can stop now. Like, life's goal accomplished. Over Christmas, a player sent me metal dice and this book, and I feel like that's because they're playing a dragon adjacent character, maybe.
Yep.
Like, so now I have to like read it and stuff.
Oh no, reading.
I know. It's not like I had a bookshelf custom built and put in right next to my desk or anything.
I'm sure you don't have anything else to do, nothing else to read or anything like that. So
I'm currently reading the IDW run of the Turtles, and it is really good. Like I can't stop reading it. It's really, really good.
Nice.
And I'm not sure how I feel about the reincarnation angle though. That's weird, but I'll get over it. At the very least, it's interesting, and I'll take interesting but head scratchy over boring but understandable any day. So here you are on the open waves of branches. What is Jacobite currently doing en route to the Ziv Vault?
Piloting the ship.
Okay. Do you have any? Are you on the lookout? Are you paranoid? I mean, it's been 2 or 3 days without any issues.
No, I'm relaxing, smoking the pipe.
Where's the pipe? You can't say that and not bring the prop.
Well, I had sat down and got comfortable.
Oh, now I feel bad. Like a house cat, if you there you go. Like a house cat, if you spend too long sitting down, you're like you pick up the house cat and they look at you like I've spent the last 8 hours getting comfortable. You've ruined it. Now I'm just all over.
Yeah.
Yep. I had everything just right in my body, but that's okay. I needed to.
I hate that.
You gotta watch out for blood clots and stuff. So no, that's
get up, do some of this. Right.
Yep. Do a little calisthenics.
Yeah, right. Do a couple of lunges, a squat or two, maybe break out the worm right there on your living room floor.
You probably wouldn't see me if I did that.
That's true.
Because I would be stuck on the floor.
I need you to pitch the camera down very low so we can see you go out.
Out of the way.
Like I get up, my back is locked in place. Send help. Kano Side, what do you do after 2.5 days of nothing shooting at you?
So I actually dropped that other little fluffy black thing that I had.
Yep.
And I'm trying to find it frantically. It's somewhere on the ship. I gotta find it.
Does that take 2.5 days?
I would say it's probably quite small and can hide places, so sure.
No
I'm
kidding.
setting traps everywhere, just trying to find it, yeah.
Jacob Light's busy relaxing and watching Kano's Light zip all over the place like a monkey doing a math problem. That's great.
And then watching the little black thing every once in a while pop up.
Go like this and then go back into hiding. Joaquin, what do you do what does Joaquin do during downtime? Are you still like up in the crow's nest waiting? Nothing's even remotely looks dangerous for 2 days.
Yeah, he's just kind of enjoying the fact that he's up above the surface again and has like the open air. And so, I mean, he's up in the crow's nest. He keeps a lookout. Every once in a while, he'll come down to go chat with people, and like the crew and stuff, maybe mess with some of the squirrels. But he mostly just sits up. He has his little chair set up in the crow's nest. He'll just sit up in his chair, drink, just
drinky,
read, clean his gun.
Nice. Charla, I feel like I'm going to ask you. What do you,
yeah.
do you do? Okay.
Poor Charla is out of her mind, just pacing the deck.
You suffer from boredom.
Pace. Scream. Startles everybody. Then goes back to pacing.
Nice. Now, when you say pace, do you mean the same? Do we do like a loop and mix it up? Or are we wearing a hole in one spot?
We are wearing a hole in one spot.
That sucks. Where's Ty's character when you need him? Hey, fix this. That's funny. Let me get there we go. I forgot to do the thing. There we go. So it's been a nice, quiet 2 days. You've watched the sun go up and come back down, right? The weather's been calm even at night. There's the rustling of the branches, the pleasant smell of springtime air, right? It's kind of creepy, actually, in comparison to everything else you usually do. I don't know if this is, I don't remember if we've chronicled the lives you had with your previous captain, but, under Jacobite's, leadership? Like there seems to be less gunfire, at least in the last 2.5 days, which are only as good as your last gunfight, right? So yeah, I like that. It's all idyllic and nice and wonderful story. Yeah, right. What is that? Is it on a cloud?
Yeah.
I have questions. How does this ship, what cloud is stiff enough to hold up stiff upper peaks, right? Like a baking thing, like a meringue, you just set the ship on top and you're good to go.
It's heavy peaks. Yeah.
Right. That's funny. So on the cusp of the third day, like noonish, an intense rain happens. The kind of thing that bites through your clothes and gets to your skin. But beyond that, it doesn't come with any wind. It is, as you sail through it, you notice that it seems to be focused on your ship, not exclusively, but it's definitely, which is to say it rains around your ship, but it's also following you. Jacob, you're the one steering the ship. Do you take any, does that bother you? How would you deal with something like that?
Doesn't really bother me per se. But I would probably mention, hey, this seems to be following us.
It does bother Konov's little black buddy who appears and is like,
I'm gonna catch it.
Like I'm wet, man. Apparently they smell terrible when they get wet. Picture like a large Saint Bernard. Now hose it in warm water. Now crank up that wet dog smell by like 400%. So with the weather comes the sound of lightning that you don't see, like there's no cloud cover to make that happen. Sorry, I said the sound of lightning, didn't I? I meant the sound of thunder. We all know the lightning doesn't actually have noise. Don't mind.
Well, it technically.
Yeah, I suppose it does. It's not a thunderclap though, is what I meant.
But if you think about it though, the lightning causes that, so it could technically be the sound of lightning.
I suppose. Yeah. Gonna bring science in here, cut it out.
I just like to argue.
Yeah, it's good though. And why do you do what you do instead of being a lawyer? I mean, isn't that the job?
That was kind of a second choice.
Really?
I made this. Yeah. Ty and I would have probably been we would have probably done that together.
Like
I was gonna say if he and Ty had actually gone that route, they would have pretty much been unstoppable.
And yet one of you chose to be in education and one of you chose to be a teacher.
Yep.
By which I mean, I'm sure the Jacobite walks around his job going, no, you got that wrong, dumbass. Let me show you how you do that right. That's education.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I am educating the dumbasses.
Yeah, that's right. I saw a picture the other day that made me think of you. It was a picture of Deadpool holding Big Head's mask in front of him, and below it said, "This can't be good." I agree. What a terrible combination.
Yep.
I'm not a big fan of Deadpool, but I'd read that comic book.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So the storm starts to narrow down on you as you take no particular precautions to get out of it. The rain starts to hit the deck with more force. At first, it's nothing, but after that, you swear it's getting like it's angry. Maybe even specific, right? Anger requires intent, right? Roll, to see if you can figure that out as Jacobite becomes upside down and then on his side and then upside down again.
I hit the wrong button, so my bad on that. That was weird. We did a barrel roll.
Yes. Yes.
There we go. That's what I was looking for. What are we rolling?
I forget what skill that would be. What skill do you want to use?
We're doing perception essentially.
Yes, and you didn't do a barrel roll. You did and I always pronounce this word wrong. Aileron roll? I think it's aileron.
Yeah.
You do this when you do a barrel roll. Aileron rolls is when you rotate in place.
Mm-hmm.
What if we're gonna be throwing in education?
Yep.
I'm learning so much today.
Yeah, right. Knowledge is power. I mean,
It was my
knowledge
first
is
day of
half the
school
battle.
today,
Knowing is half
and
the
I'm
battle,
still
yeah.
learning more here. This is wonderful.
5-2, by the way.
You bet. Joaquin, what'd you get?
Oh, we didn't realize we were all rolling. Sorry.
I mean, you don't have to. You can just rely on Jacobite's roll. That's fine.
Yeah.
And that way, if he rolls low, you can give him crap for it.
Yep. Because it would clearly be my fault.
Right. They deigned not to roll to increase the mechanical percentage of success. So obviously that's your fault.
Since Joaquin's technically like the lookout and kind of the eyes, I'll go ahead and roll for that sake.
Sounds good.
What skill did you use, Jacobite?
I have sense and something else. What was the other thing?
Sense the second.
Okay.
Something else. I can't remember what I figured.
I think
Sense and instinct. Sense and instinct. There you go.
I think I'm going to use instinct and DM make the ruling on this. Do you think Hawksight and Deadeye would have any advantage on this?
I don't think Deadeye would, but I think Hawksight would.
Okay, so then I'll use those two then.
Sounds good.
That is a 5 and a 4.
Sounds good. You bet. So the rain is definitely focused on you and is definitely aggressive.
Be aggressive.
Right. Like, Konosai, do you want to roll for that?
No, I'm good.
Okay. Jacobite, Joaquin. Oh, Charlotte, roll if you want to. Jacobite and Joaquin.
I just rolled a 5 and a 3, so
sounds good. You bet. Did the three of you deign to share that the rain is like maybe intelligent?
oh no, but she's definitely screaming at it. Like, hey, stop this! Would you get down here and fight me, Rain? I guess you are getting down here to I'll fight you.
That's funny. Would you use whatever movement skill you want to try and get out of the way as the rain answers your challenge and attempts to arc up and hit you with force off the deck? What's the old phrase? Really?
Rude.
What's the old phrase? Don't screw with Mother Nature or something like that.
Wow, a 1 and a 4. Thanks.
Oof. But 4 is good. So I mean that hurts, right? Rain pile drives you in the chest, but does not push you off the side of the deck. You do slide quite a bit, and at this point, it is really hard to miss that the rain is, taking it personal. Jacobite, you're in control of the ship. Do you want to steer away? What's the plan? What kind of defensive measure do you take against a localized pissed natural event?
I think I'm probably going to try to speed up first.
Okay.
Because, well, we kind of have a bearing and we need to not vary from that bearing too much.
That's very true. Roll for it. See if you can maintain. Well, I don't know. I really don't think you need to roll to maintain speed.
Yeah.
I'm all for skipping that. So you just speed up then.
Okay.
Okay.
And see
sure.
what happens.
The rain cloud struggles to keep up with you, but manages to do so. Joaquin, how do you help? Do you help? Are you going to shoot the rain cloud?
I honestly thought about it at one point, just as a joke, but
I need to not ask you questions while I have soda in my mouth. That was a terrible idea.
So I think Joaquin is actually going to head below decks to what's Ty's character's name? It's been so long since we played.
Nopales.
Yes. To Nopales' little workshop.
Yep.
And go to one of the compartments where he stashed some of the explosive drugs before.
Okay. I love to see that hasn't changed. Go-to plan in a world where open fire is absolutely fundamentally forbidden. Blow it to shit.
Well, it's not. I'm not going to do exactly what you think I'm going to do. I'm going to get just maybe like a tablespoon, half a cup, somewhere in between equivalent of the powder, and I'm going to head to the engine. And so, how does the engine actually work? I don't know if we explained that.
I don't know. If we did, you did, because the ship design was up to you as a team. So I have no idea. I don't have a copy of your ship sheet. I have no idea how your ship works. Up to you. Yeah, well, seriously.
Assuming that it has some sort of fuel source or whatever, or some sort of compartment that I can open up where the combustion is taking place, or whatever as energy is distribution is happening to make it go. Right. I'm going to open that up, and I'm going to shout up and just say, "Hey, hang on, guys!" And I'm gonna throw the the drugs into the engine to give us a little NOS boost.
I see. So the 1,000 hamsters and wheels that make your ship, run.
Yes.
Get a hold of that. And then Jacobite, when you speed up the ship, you expect a certain percentage of gain, and you get like 4 times that much. I need you now. I'm gonna have you roll. I need you to roll to maintain the ships as level as possible, because as the ship speeds up at an unreasonable speed, you hear it start to come apart. If that ship pitches too much as you move, parts of it are going to get ripped off as it collides with the waves.
Okay.
Kana Sahib, how do you deal with being like ricocheted?
I'm going to go below deck.
I see. You bet.
653.
Nice. You bet. So Jacobite, he's good at this, right? The ship, he's like, yeah, no worries.
I'm one with the ship.
Right. Literally. Right.
Yes.
You watch his plank feet sort of settle onto it like tree roots, and he's like, I got this. The good news is you tear out from underneath the cloud. And if you didn't know any better, you'd swear you watch it dry up almost immediately upon being out from underneath it. Then again, you are pulling away from it incredibly fast, so maybe not. And at one point, you fly over a gap in the waves and hit, like you go up and over. The branches aren't completely flat. They go up a little bit. You fly through the air like an almost literal airship. You hit the branches and you skitter across them like a river stone. And you really should hit something, but you don't, because Jacobite's like, not a problem. And eventually he banks the ship as you come up on what looks like a large pile of yellow. What is that? Is that a NOS tank?
Yeah.
I see. Nice. Because that's totally how it works. I dump energy drink into my car and we are good to go. Right?
Yep.
That's fantastic.
I feel like after pulling off this maneuver, I need to put another one up though.
I know exactly what you're gonna put up too.
What is it? What
I
is
can
it?
find it.
I have a feeling there's gonna be a bald guy. Yep.
Nah. So it wasn't actually an energy drink that did that. It was family, right? You all
Yes.
came
Yes.
together as a family.
Yes.
That's how we survived anyway.
Yep.
I need to watch those. I've only seen, I think, the first, whichever one Tokyo Drift was. I stopped watching it then.
Yeah, that one was interesting.
Did they get better?
I would say the first 3 are kind of trash, and
Really?
the rest are much better.
I,
But
No
I would
kidding.
say that Tokyo Drift is almost like a branch that doesn't quite belong. It still kind of belongs, but doesn't quite belong.
yeah, they reveal later on that Tokyo Drift actually takes place after like the 6th or 7th episode. So it's like a big jump to the future, and then they jump back in time to the present and continue the story up until that point, and then they go past that point.
No kidding. There's
Yeah,
what,
it's
9
really
of those?
Yeah.
So I heard somebody pitch the other day that the 10th one should be Fast and Furious, Fast 10, your seatbelt, and I'm game for that. Like,
I like it.
Yep. I think that's good.
I like it.
Yeah.
Also, the new Thor movie is called Love and Thunder, and I can't. I feel like you need to be over 18 and give like an ID and swipe your credit card or something. I can't. Like what? You can't name your movie that.
Yeah.
And this is it contains it would be bad enough, but it contains a god whose big thing is like macho, and I'm like I'm sorry, I can't deal. Anyway, so Jacobite manages to pull the ship in as you the waves crack and splinter. Burnt wood flies through the air out of the waves, though, not out of your ship. And the ship almost crashes into a large, thicketed, high tropics area. The temperature goes up by like 40 degrees. There are bugs the size of my hand buzzing all over the place. The whole place has vibrant moss in it that moves on its own. Like you don't really need to focus to see it. The moss wriggles on its own from tree to tree. You see lots of life, but aside from the insects, it's all plant life. That said, you do hear one shriek coming from down inside of it. The thicket is thick enough that you could go around it, though given how wide it is, that looks like it would take a while. And it's very tightly wound. All the branches and thorns kind of pulled together like this in a big gnarled knot. But there is exactly one channel wide enough for your ship to go down to the middle, in the middle, and to the left a little bit. Would you consider your characters to be reasonably paranoid?
Seems like a cattle shoot to me.
I don't know what that means.
Yeah, Joaquin hears him say that, and he agrees as he's heading back towards the crow's nest. He passes by him as he's saying that, and yeah, it definitely feels like some sort of trap.
I say, is that a trap? Like, I was gonna ask if you're reasonably paranoid characters, and I mean just a little bit. This smells like a trap, but not one set by your enemies or anything. You don't have any enemies that are powerful enough to have raised an entire thicket like that. What, overnight?
So there's no way to travel over just the regular part of the thicket. It would have to be around or through this little chute.
That you could go around in either direction, though it is very wide. You could go through it. You could also deliberately try and do what you just did. Remember how you flew through the air? You could deliberately gather up a bunch of sticks and sort of make a ramp and then try and shoot over it.
I mean, what do you guys think?
In any case, you see a green cloud coming across the horizon behind you. At the rate it's going, it'll still be a while. But that's any person in the Wildsea knows that's acid rain. It'll eat apart your ship.
Okay.
One way or another, you need cover somewhere.
So I know Jacobite's answer based on his background picture. Charlie.
I don't recognize that scene, but it's in the air, isn't it?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
They just jumped off of like a 2-mile high bridge and they go straight into the water and they somehow survive. It's ridiculous. They like surf the car down.
So you're selling this movie for me right now. You know that, right?
The movies are filled with absurdity.
Yeah, and
but
that's
it's
so good.
on the edge of realistic.
Yeah, like that's what makes me love them so much. Is it's if you really think about it, they're really ridiculous and just stupid, and the plots are horrible, but it's just fun to watch because of the
fun is good.
Yeah.
I was just rewatching the Conan cartoon from I want to say the early 80s. And that has like the most over-the-top stupid theme song ever. So it's an 80s cartoon, so they explain the premise in every title card, right?
Yeah.
And they go, Conan, the mightiest warrior ever. And I'm going, way to just wow, it's like the second most macho theme song ever. like it's just stupid fun.
So Konosai Charla, what do you guys think?
What do you think? Around, through, or up and over?
I'm thinking Jacobite and Joaquin probably know what they're doing best in this kind of situation. I mean, it's their ship. I'm not going to tell them what to do.
I was just going to say assumption.
So
that's why my assumption is probably wrong, but I'll probably punch whatever gets us into trouble anyways. So
do you think you'd be up for helping Nepales build the ramp?
Sure. Building stuff would be great.
Mechanical abilities, yeah.
Sounds good. Konosai, what do you think? Sounds like the team wants to build a ramp on the spot while the acid cloud is pursuing us, and then back up so we have enough distance, and then try and fly over this thicket. You can't see through it from here. So you are assuming that the ship will carry you so far that it will take you over it. Because if not, you might as well have gone through it instead.
It sounds ambitious, but I'm game.
I love your word choice. That's great.
We can always count on Konosai to be the voice of reason.
Yes, but not talk you out of it.
Yeah, it's like Konosai knows that this is probably not the smartest plan, but kind of wants to see what happens anyway.
Voice of reason, not ultimatum of reason.
Yeah, yes, right. This is a stupid plan, but let's do it.
Yeah. So I guess
son of a bitch, I'm in.
So I guess Nepales and Charla build the ramp for us.
Yeah, you bet.
Do that.
So I'm gonna have you roll for that though, because the structural integrity of the ramp could seriously hinder your jump.
So should I use repair or craft? I mean, I'm not fixing a ramp.
Yeah, I don't think you're
building
fixing
it. So
it.
craft.
Yeah.
And could I use sense to make sure that the ramp is like properly?
Yeah,
made?
I think you could. I think sense would be involved in like making sure you take, because not all the branches that make up the Wildsea are of equal stock, right? So I can definitely see you picking the good ones, right? You want to take the time to get the good ones, but you don't want to take too long because the acid rain is coming. So, I get it. Yeah.
Well, hey, 2 6s and 2 3s.
Nice, you bet. So in record time, Charla gets on the surface of the Wildsea. Do you have that skill that lets you walk on the branches? How are you suspending yourself on there? Are you light enough to just stand on the waves?
Oh, Charla's like she herself is pretty like light, and she has her arm to just kind of like hold her.
Oh, I see. Okay, cool. So you do like that cat tripod over the toilet thing, right? And collect more branches. You take some connectors over here, a hammer over here, and you and Nepales, who is not here, but we're role playing him as if he is, helps you build. Well, really, he helps you. Sounds like you're doing all the work. He's just standing there, right? What's the word I'm looking for?
Supervising,
managing, right? Supervising. You build the ramp. You get back on the ship. So let me get this straight. The crew is going to now back up towards the acid cloud so they can zip away from it at high speed. Is that right?
A little bit.
Yeah.
Okay. Jacobite, it will take, do we back up or turn around with the ship?
We're going to back up.
Really? Okay. You bet. Takes longer, but I suppose it's nice and stable that way. Konosai, what are you doing during this period of time?
I'm going to make sure that when we go airborne, we don't lose things off the ship.
As in, we're shackling and buttoning and
battening down the hatches.
You're right. What is on the deck right now? Like what's exposed to the sky? No,
we have a couple
probably
of
a bunch of traps.
That's pretty much
a bunch of traps. And Joaquin, what was that?
I think we have a couple of those big guns, but
that's right.
Those are like attached to the deck.
You bet. The squirrels they're smart enough to like they see the ramp. They're clever little creatures. You get a lot of thumbs up and a lot of gritted teeth. Like one part fear, one part this is awesome, right? So Conasab, you're battening everything down. You bet. I wouldn't normally have you roll for that, but given that the ship is making unusual movements, I'm going to have you roll for it anyway. But add an extra die because you're rolling for it, but it's still something that doesn't require a lot of effort on your part.
Okay. Two 5s, a 3, and a 1.
You bet. You batten down all the hatches. You give it a tug here. You're pretty sure that's going to hold. Joaquin, what are you up to?
So I'm going to, before I go to get another little handful of the special dust, I'm going to talk to the OM squad, specifically Vom.
Okay.
And I'm going to
he has his finger in his nose.
I'm going to make a bet with him and tell him that if he straps himself to the prow of the ship and dresses up like a mermaid whenever we do this, then I'll buy a whole bucket of paint just for him next time we're at a place where I can do that. Okay.
He takes the bet, but it has to be red paint.
That's fine. Whatever color you want.
It's okay. None of that brand X crap either, as he dresses into a mermaid outfit. This is insane. He gets to the front of the ship and he goes, I can't tie myself to the front of the ship.
No, I'm gonna do it. I'll tie him.
Okay. Yeah, you bet. So you tie him to the front of the ship.
Yep.
Jacobite, roll for your Scott, you're on top of the world Titanic moment. I want you to remember though that, right, that ship sank, right? Like,
yeah. Okay.
And everybody battened themselves down.
Yeah. Right. Everybody duck.
All right. Oh, thank the Lord. 663.
Nice. So
awesome.
The ship goes right, special dust. The ship for the second time in 2 hours takes to the skies and goes clear over the thicket. And you look down in it. Maybe you do. But if you do, you'll see that there are lots of what look like humanoid people, ranging from humans to mushroom folk, on what look like large wooden slabs being held up to the sky by roots, and they are slowly rotting, like some sort of ceremonial thing. The thicket is almost as wide, almost as long as it is wide, which is to say the ship does not completely clear it, but you do not crash into that ceremonial whatever it is. Instead, the ship comes down in what appears to be a giant freestanding pool of water set into a large stone basin, large enough to contain your ship and maybe 3 more. In front of it this basin is in front of what looks like a large hexagonal, actually very D12 in shape, not quite that clean cut, rounder than that, but that kind of shape. A temple about the size of your average barn and a little bit more. 2 big stone doors in the front. Looks like it hasn't been opened a long time. It's caked in old ivy and moss.
So once we get to that point, Joaquin's gonna head up to the crow's nest really quickly and look back and see if that acid rain cloud is still following us.
Definitely. I mean, it doesn't look sentient, right? It just looks like bad weather coming this way. But at the rate it's moving, it should be here within the hour or so.
Okay, so we can't really afford to stop for any period of time.
You're going to have to at least a little bit. Your ship is now floating in water for maybe the first time ever. How the hell are you going to get it out of water and into the branches again?
Maybe we could make use of those vines.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay, sure. The ones on the front of the temple?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. How so? Have any of you seen a giant pile of freestanding liquid like that?
I don't think
I don't
so.
think we talked about how like ambient, how available fresh water is in.
Like the closest thing we saw was that river at the bottom, like the ground level.
Okay. This is huge. This is like, so it's clearly like person made, right? It's a temple, and there's like a swimming pool large enough to contain 4 of your ship, maybe a little bit more. Your ship's like the rubber ducky in a very large bathtub.
How does our ship propel itself?
I'm not sure. I was being funny with the hamster thing. I don't actually know. I think that's up to you. One of you sent me the ship sheet on, I think, Facebook, but I don't actually think it covers how it works.
It doesn't say. I just resent it from before.
So I suppose that's something we ought to pause and figure out as a team, because it looks like if today's session is any indication, that could matter, right?
Yeah.
So probably something worth deciding as a team, which is you, not me.
Well,
if it runs on gerbils, combustion, if it burns air, whatever.
I was kind of under the assumption this whole time that, because I think I read something in one of the rule sections or whatever, that most of the ships have like these saws or whatever that kind of collect and eat the trees in front of them. So I was under the assumption that basically like there's some sort of device at the front that like chews up the wood as we're traveling through,
right.
feeds it into the engine where there's some sort of like combustion happening.
Okay.
And that's what propels us.
Okay, that means floating in the water, you'd have almost no ability to move forward.
Yeah, we'd have to get to the one edge of the wood to where we could get going again.
Huh. Fascinating.
Put the squads into the water and get them to push.
So
oh yeah, did Vom survive?
Oh yeah, he's fine. Oh, I almost forgot. The squirrels, when you land, they throw all their nuts in the air like a big celebration. They love it. When you find Vom, he is on the front of the ship, right? As soon as the ship hits and then like gives it a second to make, you get a thumbs up and he goes, I'm okay. I'm okay. I need new trousers, but I'm okay.
Yeah, I'm just gonna walk up and from behind, I'm gonna pull out the katana that I got in San Francisco, and I'm just gonna slice the back of his restraints so that he just like falls forward into the water.
Oh, like he hits the water, right? I know one of those like, ooh, right. He kind of orients himself and he starts to panic and freak out. Apparently he cannot swim.
I'd be surprised if any of us could.
Like he starts to sink immediately and looks at you.
Rope.
You watch him disappear under the waves like, help me. Charlotte, you want to throw rope down to him? You bet. You watch him and like scramble for the rope. But I mean, he's not going to die, right?
Yeah.
I mean, he probably will someday, but not from his own idiocy, but not from this. And he manages to grab the rope and shimmy his way up. And in his soaked mermaid finery, he goes, all right, what now? That was awesome. Now.
So I've got an idea, but it's going to take some engineering, which Joaquin is not technically the best at.
Okay.
So if anybody wants to help make this idea come to fruition, then go for it. Otherwise, I'll just try my best. But
You said engineering, you got Charles' attention.
okay, so that's what I was
Build a
hoping
thing.
for. So my thought is to somehow fashion some sort of like grappling hook device and load that into the guns that are on the sides of the ship, attached to ropes that we have, or maybe even the vines. We could have the squad collect the vines for us, whatever we need to, and then shoot to the sides of us, but out at an angle in front of us with grappling hooks to where we could hopefully get to the edge of the tree line, and then have everybody on the ship start pulling on the other end of the rope to kind of pull us forward.
Oh, I see. Okay. Yeah. So we want to shoot at. Here's a concern. This bathtub you're in is made out of stone. The lip of the bathtub is higher than the body of the water, which means when your ship gets to here, it's going to bump up against a stone lip that's probably a good foot or two taller than the surface of the water. How do you get the ship up and over it?
You destroy this lip.
Or that.
I have an idea that saves us all this trouble.
Oh, yeah?
we have guns.
Right. What are we shooting?
Destroy. If you shoot
side of the tank.
Yeah, if you shoot the lip of the tank all the way up, the water will start going out of the hole that you create, which will pull our ship, which will push us out.
Yeah.
Look at him coming in here with like his engineering, and this is how water works. Look here, Mr. Wizard. Okay, or Bill Nye or whatever this decade's science guy is. Get out of here.
Yeah,
here? Okay.
I'm totally on board with that.
Panoside, what do you think? Sounds like we've got the bunch of manual labor but cool grapple guns idea, or cool blow it to shit and watch us kind of be pulled down towards the new drain, sort of like a rubber ducky in a bathtub plant.
Well, it's better than what my idea was. So
what's your idea?
My idea was that we would have the vines remain attached at the top of the temple, and then we would have the bottom of them and just like pull ourselves. But I don't think we have the power for that. So
the doors on the temple are large enough to contain your ship. So, I mean, assuming they were open all the way, you could probably fit in there. So, I mean, you could do that. They're closed, but
be a good way to protect our ship from the acid rain if we could get it in there.
True.
Yeah.
That is, I mean, I can't help you. Sounds like we've got three. I think there's merit in all three of those plans, personally. So
I'm totally okay with nixing my plan because I like the other two ideas better.
I see.
And I'm okay with either one. So my vote will be with whatever the majority is.
Well, you come up with a plan. Well, you agree on a plan. I'm doing maths. And usually you don't have to agree as a plan, but I mean, you've only got the one ship.
Yeah.
Ooh, eventually I feel like you're all going to have your own individual ships that can combine into one giant lion-shaped ship.
Yes.
Amber and I started watching the new, I guess it's not new anymore, the newer Voltron. It's good. And Hunk's the best.
Hunk is the best.
It's so good. I love that guy. And I was like, I don't know, it's Voltron. It's cool, but it's also like the same thing every episode. How are they going to beat that? Like this? That's very cool. Anyway, nerd. So while the team settles on a plan, I have to do some basic math. Don't mind me if you hear me go.
Okay, so my thought is that if we can find a way to get the temple doors open, we can check out the inside, and then in the meantime, while someone's checking out the doors, we can have someone set up explosives as like a backup plan. Because if we can't get the doors open, we got to get out.
Yeah.
We have a blast bow. I don't think we need to set anything up. We just
okay.
Yeah. So my thing is, with the acid rain, did we establish whether it was just a regular cloud of acid rain that's traveling and will pass us at some point, or is it actually a sentient thing that is going to stay there as long as it knows that we're there? Because that's going to determine how we decide, or at least how I decide which one of these plans we go with.
It looks pretty far away to be getting a specific bead on it, but acid rain out in this area of the Wildsea is fairly common. You can, and even if it's not like you've been out here before. You're out in the far reach of the Wildsea. The vault's a big secret, right? But if the area around here is any indication from all the acid burns and the half melted this and that and caustic pockmarks, acid rain is totally normal. It's probably not sentient, but I mean, it will damage your ship.
Okay. I mean, I'm still okay with either option, but if it's gonna pass us by, then I'm okay with trying to get our ship in the protection of the temple, and then that way it'll be in front of us, and we can just kind of keep an eye on it that way. We don't have to try to chase it. If we need to stop for a bit somewhere, then we can do that too.
Mm-hmm.
What your average Wildsea crew does, I mean, acid rain is a fairly consistent threat. So most people just find a place, like they pull in towards the nearest forest and wherever they can get cover, right? And they just wait it out. Let me get this straight. The plan is to head to the temple, and if that doesn't work, blow something up.
Blast our way out.
Yes.
You bet.
Yep.
Who's opening the temple doors, and how are you doing it?
I could go and look at it. I mean, it's with Charla being a rootless huntress, she probably goes a bunch of different places and has seen things like this before. So she might have an idea.
Yeah, you bet.
And she's very good at problem solving. So
sounds good. When you see a huntress, you mean like wears a lot of purple, carries a crossbow, got this thing for killing people? No.
No. Hunter.
Huntress is a character from DC Comics.
I know.
Oh, okay.
I know. I love her.
She's pretty great. I like the old one better than the new one. I like the classic Huntress, like daughter of a mob boss. Anyway, so is anyone going with you?
I'll go with.
Okay, sounds great.
Alrighty.
And I assume the other two of you are staying on the ship to what? Prep the explosives just in case?
Yeah, I will start prepping the guns.
You bet. When you get up towards the edge of the temple, how do you get there? Can you swim? There's like a good 300 feet.
Being a mushroom, you can float.
Oh,
I might be able to float. Yeah.
And Charla can swim.
Here's an idea. If you've never seen I'm not saying that you can't float. I think you can. But is that a word you know? If you've never seen a body of water before in your life that, does the concept of float, not float, right? Is buoyancy a thing you're familiar with?
I mean, there are things that float in the air.
Fair.
Aren't you really into the pre-V stuff?
Yeah.
So you should theoretically, with having a knowledge of the history and stuff like that, at least have heard of some stuff like that. I would think.
Back in the world was very, very wet. Yeah. Because a stunning amount of our planet is ocean. Right. Sounds good. So how do you find out? You just jump and hope for the best?
I will jump and I will take a rope with me while I go down. So if I don't float, I can come back up.
Practical paranoia. Good plan. Trust but verify, right? You float?
Nice.
Charla, do you also float, or do you have some different skill?
Oh, Charla does not float. She has a massive giant metal arm, but
no floating, right?
She probably knows how to swim.
Really? Okay, cool beans. Where'd you pick up that skill? Obviously at the YMCA, right? But I mean,
of course, at the YMCA.
right. But I mean, which one?
Well, I think she has a theoretical knowledge of knowing how to swim from old stuff.
Nice.
So
you have one of those.
Okay, I've seen how people swim. Mm-hmm. This is going to be really. It's like really floppy and splashy and loud noises, but she's doggy paddling her way. Her arm kind of propels her further on one side, and then she has to flail with the other one to try and keep up.
Like when you canoe and you don't really know how to do it, right?
Yeah. It's like I can do this. I can do this.
There's a lot of extra water, a lot of extra energy spent. You look kind of like a fish that had brain damage. It's a good time. You bet. You and Konosai get to the other end of the giant pool, though, with varying degrees of grace. You're going like this, right? So Konosai gets completely soaked, even though presumably the part of her that's floating above water would have remained dry if not for your flashy display. So you're both soggy when you get there, but you get there. The temple doors are large. Yeah, they'll hold your ship if you opened them. You can definitely see the hinges on these side, like on the far sides, like a French fridge doors, right? They're definitely the kind of doors you grab and then open. You do see recesses for handles, but they're not the kind of thing you grab. They're more like the kind of thing you put your fingers into and then pull. The doors are huge. You're probably not strong enough to pull them open. Maybe one door at a time, and only because Charla has a giant robot arm. A lot of moss and old growth covers the edgings of symbols on the doors. You could clean that up to look at it if you want. How big a hurry are you in?
Well, I can do it while Charla starts to open the doors.
Okay, sure. Charla, go ahead.
If it has any interesting info on how to get us in the doors, that'd be cool.
I see. You mean like
speak friend and enter?
Yeah, right. Stay a while and no, that's that other game. So yeah, Charla, roll to open it. Konosai, with a cut. They're really heavy. Konosai, as you clean off the moss and you kind of get a good look at it, you're looking at what looks like a series of pictures, almost like a comic book. It shows little stick figures that you're not really sure they're supposed to be people. They're sort of like one large horizontal line that's wider than the rest of the figure by quite a bit, like a very wide-rimmed hat type thing, with a little body underneath it, right? 2 arms, 2 legs. If it would be a person, except for the head, which is usually a circle, is a line that's like twice as wide as the stick figure. There's 6 or 7 of them. And it shows a picture of what is definitely a sun, right? A circle with lots of wavy lines coming off of it. And then another picture, and they look like something is beating them. They're pitched so they lean forward, right? Their knees are bent. They look tired. The next panel shows there are less of them standing up. Some of them are dead, presumably. They're laying flat at the bottom of the panel. That circle is still there. And then from there, it shows a series of panels where it looks like these people built a shelter, some sort of circle, in order to keep them safer from the one in the sky.
Okay.
Like they're inside of some big dome or something.
All right. Well, I don't know what that means, and I don't know how to interpret it. So I guess I'll tell Charla what I do see of the pictograms and see if I can help with opening the doors.
Sure. Do you want to make some sort of roll to see if your character, if Konosai adds up what it means? Because
sure.
I don't want to if you don't get it, that's not fair because it's a line between you and the character and all. Anyway, feel free to roll for it. Charla, what did you get for your door opening roll?
I rolled a 3.
Oh,
Sad.
oh. So you, and the door squeaks. And the hinges rattle, but they do not open. The hinges are rusted shut from a long period of lack of use. Konosai, what'd you get?
5, 4, 3, 1.
You bet. You've seen pictographs like that before. That is definitely a some sort of security dome or like shelter built by mushroom folk. Specifically the wide-headed kind of mushroom people. Charla, you struggle to open the door. You can probably open it, but you'll have to clean the hinges up first.
Alrighty.
Jacobite and Joaquin, it looks like they're going to make progress, but I didn't know if you wanted to get involved in the meantime or just sort of point and throw popcorn.
I mean, I guess we're seeing this go on, right?
Right.
I'm impatient, so I also float, and I'm going to hop over and try to pound the door open.
Is there any particular reason that you were willing to blow the side of the bathtub with your cannon, but not the temple doors?
It seems old.
Right, because the bathtub is somehow younger.
Well, their doors are meant to open. The side of a bathtub's not. So
it's no fun to blow things open that are supposed
I'll
to
give it a
open.
shot. I'll give it a shot and see if I'm strong enough.
We'll call that Plan B.
Okay, I was
Yeah,
just
I'll see if I'm
curious.
strong enough.
I didn't know if there was some line in the sand he had drawn that I wasn't quite understanding. I was like, his first thought was to blow this puppy, but I said temple doors, and he didn't say let's shoot them. And I was just curious as to how come.
No, I'll give it a shot. I'm strong.
Yeah, you bet. Roll for it.
5-1.
Ooh, you bet. So do you try the door, or are you fussing with the hinges?
I try the door.
You bet. So you between Charla and you and you rip one of the doors open. There's that long, terrible clanging screech noise as like something really heavy is dragged across a grating metal floor. I hate that sound. You know what I'm talking about?
Yep.
And that happens for like almost a minute and a half because those doors open wide. That's one door, right? You'll have to get the other one. When you open the door, like centuries old dust cake wafts out into the air. I don't know if Jacobite, do you breathe?
No.
Yeah, right. So it just kind of cakes on him. That's gross. Inside, there is what appears to be a huge, huge statue. It's got to be 80 feet high, maybe more. A huge statue of a giant golden mushroom person. Incredibly wide cap, like twice as wide as it really needs to be. Like it looks lopsided. It's large enough that smaller mushroom statue people are on top of it, like a ring of them. Like a sombrero with the little lights on it, except each of the little lights is a mushroom person. It has its arms outstretched like this, and in front of it, all across the floor between you and it, are what look like maybe 100 mushroom people that, given the single shaft of light that's shooting in here from your open door, they could be statues, but maybe not.
So does the statue happen to look anything like Kanosai?
I don't know. Kanosai, how describe your general proportions, which is not a thing I usually ask a woman, I swear. Like,
Kanosai is quite small. I think I said around 4 feet, if I recall.
Okay. So you're still, you're a little shorter than Wolverine. That's pretty short.
And it's not like a flat top mushroom head. It's more like a cone, I guess.
Okay. Like this?
Yeah. More like round at the bottom, so like bell shaped.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So no, this doesn't look anything like you. This is like a mushroom person with a lily pad on their head. Like it's only like this thick, proportionate to the rest of the mushroom, and is very, very wide.
I was just secretly hoping that Kanosai was like some special, like chosen one of this.
She might be. Prophecies be like that. She might be.
Okay.
What do we do?
I'm trying the other door so we can get the ship in.
No kidding.
Is there water in here?
No, the bathtub lip ends at the little platform on which you drag the doors open. Okay. So you can get the ship in here, but if you do that, you'll while there was enough horizontal space to move the ship. And there is a little channel that you could use to, you could make it, there's a sluice gate. You could make it so the water lets you in here. The ship will essentially sink underneath the top of the sluice gate and end up where those mushroom people are. Which is to say, if you bring the ship in here, you're going to be crushing all those mushroom people to get them out of your way. I don't know if that's a concern for anybody.
Are they people? Are they saying anything?
Are they statues? Are they alive?
There's not a lot of light in there. The shaft of light you've opened up only casts light on about half of them, about that. And they look old and covered in dirt, but I mean, the statue is obviously a statue. It even glows a little bit. Yeah, you notice a distinct lack of dust. These things might be people. Petrified, burnt, who knows? Or they could be statues.
I don't care. I'm still
investigate
trying to
them?
open the other door.
You bet.
If they want to investigate, they can, but
You bet. So you go to open the other door. I'm not going to go for that a second time. You've did it once, you know. Charles, are you helping him open the door?
Yes.
You bet. The two of you open it, no problem. When the rest of the light shines in, you have enough light now that they are definitely people. They look extra. I mean, they look very, very stiff, almost like a black cake of dirt or something has covered them almost, but not completely. So you can see little pock marks of the mushroom person underneath. They look like they were affected by some blight or disease, maybe, but they're definitely not statues. Kanosai, what do you think? These are mushroom people. They're your people.
Are they all dead, or like are they hibernating? What's going on exactly?
How do you try and figure that out? Do you touch them? Do you smell them? How close do you get?
Well, I'm afraid there might be some kind of curse or disease or something, and being that I'm also a mushroom, I'm not gonna touch them.
Okay.
I will send out my cordyceps. I'll have it do its little pulse and see if it can find anything.
You bet. So as it does its little, do you enter the temple, or are you just trying to send it from outside?
No, I enter. I'm gonna walk in there and look around.
I see.
I'm just not gonna touch anything.
I see. When you get inside, the ground, which looks like a dull gray stone, ripples out with little rings of light through it when you step on it.
Okay.
Like a sonar blip every time you take a step.
I'm only gonna take a couple steps in then.
You bet.
When I notice that.
And then you loose the bug, right?
Mm-hmm.
The bug goes and does his little ping and comes back to you. And you gather that the mushroom people, they're not cursed or anything. There's probably no magic at play here. It looks like they're not dead so much as locked in place like a stasis rot. If you clean it off of them, they should just snap out of it. Granted, if they were really old and gonna die anyway, they'll do that. It does, but they are just locked in this state. That's unusual, but more than that, there's like 100 of them here, all locked in the exact same pose.
I guess.
If Jacobite brings the ship in here, he will absolutely be killing like 100 mushroom folk.
I don't think Kanosai
definitely.
I don't think Kanosai cares too much about that.
No.
No. Kanosai came from a community where there was like a massive overpopulation of mushroom people, and death was just kind of what happened. So
yeah, call 100 of them. It's good for everybody else, right? Yeah. More good air for me. Nice. It's dark.
Maybe putting them out of their misery too.
Right. I love how to Kano's side, this isn't dark. It's just pragmatic.
Yeah, pretty much. It's just the way things are. Like, sorry, but you know.
I'm sorry.
Snooze, you lose.
Yeah, right. Sucks to be you. Right.
Yeah. Or maybe bringing the ship in will clean the stuff off of them and save them.
Maybe. Yeah, you bet. So do we do it? Do we bring the ship inside?
I'm doing it if nobody stops me.
Yeah.
No kidding.
When you get back to the ship and because I stayed on the ship, but when you get back to the ship and tell me what you're doing, I am just going to pose the question: if we do get the ship in there, how are we going to get it out?
It's a good question. Like, if the ship slides down to get in here, how do you get it back out?
We'll figure that out.
I see.
Better than having it melted from acid.
We can drain the water out the sluice gate, so we can just go back out, and we have to bring some sort of explosives out and blow up the wall of the bowl, but if it drains the water, we could get out.
Yeah, okay. You bet. So
I'm not gonna stop you.
Like, I feel like Joaquin has reservations, though. I'm not gonna stop you. Is not I endorse this plan, right? Like, it's
just throwing it out there.
Oh, there's a cat. Hey, buddy.
Yeah.
You're like a cow. I love the pattern.
She's so cute.
I've been watching the one in the background Just
Oh,
it was
wow!
sitting
I
like a
didn't even see him
statue,
back there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
barely laid down, but it was like perched up like a statue for a good while.
Is that jealous face? Is that sleepy face? What is that?
He is sleepy.
He just
He's-
turned away like, don't talk about me.
He's he's mad that I wouldn't play with him because I'm
Aw.
playing D&D right now. So
Oh, buddy, you can play too. We'll get you like little foam dice and you can knock them around or whatever. Ooh, we can put a little hat on you with the bell and you can be the cat on the shelf. Huh? I feel like the cat wouldn't go for that.
Okay,
So-
so is Jacobite able to do this by himself, or is there any kind of help that's needed, or what?
Oh yeah, no, he can totally steer the ship in. So if he's going to steer the ship, Charla and Konosai, somebody's got to open the sluice gate.
Got
yeah, I don't know if I'd be strong enough to do it. So
Okay, let's assume that you're going to be somewhere else. Where are you going to be? In the temple and hope the water raises you, get on the ship, like back on the ship? Where is everybody in regards to, I need to know where everybody is before, we go through with this. I know where Jacobite is. Obviously, he's behind the captain's wheel. And Joaquin, you're up in the crow's nest?
Yeah.
That leaves one of the other two of you to open the sluice gate and, or maybe both of you, up to you. It is a big gate. There's only one. It's got to move all that water at once. Which means it's got to
Okay.
be hardy enough to not let that water knock it over on its own from its sheer weight. So it's got to be a pretty impressive sluice gate. I understand that water is heavy.
I guess we can both work at the sluice gate.
Sounds
Your
good.
help would be very appreciated.
Aw. No reason not to be polite. Yeah. One of the great reasons I think the Princess Bride is so good. I encountered somebody today who thought that was like the most overhyped movie ever. And I was, wow. Somebody asked just on Twitter, they were like, movie opinion that'll get you all the swords. And we went on a series of films people, classically appreciated films people say they didn't like. And there was a lot of, I think this movie's overhyped. I think that movie's not as good. I think this movie's better than people get it credit for. And I was expecting arguments like episode 1 isn't as bad as you will say it is. But I was not expecting anybody to be like the Princess Bride is hot garbage. I was like, wait, what? like, huh? And was that an agreement nod I just saw?
No, I don't think it's hot garbage. But I agree that that's a kind of a bold statement.
Right. I was like, wow. Shade. So the two of you open the gate and the ship and the water come down and the ship goes underneath the bottom of the sluice gate. No problem. How tall is your crow's nest up in comparison to the rest of the ship? Is it twice as tall, 3 times as high? I mean, how tall is your ship total? Pretty big?
I don't know if we ever established that either.
Bigger than a barn?
Depends on the barn, but
Barn without a silo. Does that help? I'm gonna take that as a no.
I would say that it's probably close to that. Maybe
Okay.
maybe a little taller.
Okay, sure. As you go underneath, the very top of the crow's nest takes a clip, but your ship's still gonna work.
The whole time it's going under, Joaquin is looking very closely, watching to see if it's gonna make it.
Right.
He's really
And
nervous.
not completely. You lose like the top foot of your crow's nest. It's just kind of snap and comes off. But the ship ends up in the temple, and as you watch the water whoosh over all those mushroom people, and the black rot does in fact wash off of them, mix with the water, and you watch it expand quickly. I don't even know how to describe that. Like one of those little rubber toys you get and you put it in the bathtub or the sink or whatever and it gets bigger, but not like do it now and come back in 3 hours, and it's not like that. It go like a sponge, like a completely dry sponge that you shove in a body of water and you watch it plump up immediately like that. That's, I don't know if that's good or bad, but it happens. And the little like 100 little spheres of black stuff start to swim around on their own. And you watch mushroom caps appear on the surface of the water. The mushroom people have floated up, and they panic and scream, and they can't swim. Charla and Kanosai, you are outside the ship, right at the sluice gate, so you see this probably you see more of it in real time than the two of them do. Jacobite's focused on the ship, and Joaquin is focused on the crow's nest, going, oh crap, oh crap, oh crap. Oh. What do you do?
Help as many of them as I can.
Yeah, is there any like
Throw them some
higher
vines?
ground? Vines, anything to climb or get up
There's
on?
a bunch of vines inside the building. Yeah, looks like the sun has gotten through the roof. The roof's crumbled in places, which in turn let light and nature in here. So there's a bunch of vines and stuff growing on the walls. Yeah.
In relation to the giant mushroom statue, how high is it rising? Like the water and the foam?
Once the water stops rising, the entire body of water, ship and all, like the water level comes up to the kneecaps of the mushroom. So your mast goes, then your ship's higher than that. Joaquin is probably eye level with the mushroom, maybe a little bit lower. It's essentially, and that's pretty much all there is to the temple. There's a giant statue, these people, right? And now it's a bathtub with your ship in it.
Okay, well, they can't swim, but can they float?
Yes. Do you instruct them on how to do that? There's no guarantee that they have the background skill that you do.
That's okay. I'm gonna try. I'll try to shout some instructions over the chaos and see if it works.
You bet. Between the screaming and the bubbling, would you I roll, but I'm not sure what for. Like, how do you see. I'm not sure if you're trying to reach them through their panic, or if that's, lots of people have good ideas. Not everybody is a good teacher of said ideas.
Right. I've got sharps and outwit. That's really the only things I think would even be applicable here.
Yeah, let's go with those.
Okay.
Charla, what are you doing? Oh, take a cut because they're panicking like crazy.
Okay.
Charla, or what are you doing? How are you helping them?
Throwing ropes.
I see.
Well, vines.
Right.
Pulling people out of water,
Yeah, right. Connor side, what'd you get?
With the cut, I got 2 3s.
Nice. So you reach some of them and not others. Between you and Charla, you managed to go. Oh, that's 2 3s. You can add a twist in there if you want.
Let's say that there was some old wood that becomes driftwood, and some of them can float on it.
Nice. Okay. Yeah, you bet. Between the ropes, and you're like, no, you need to breathe like floating. I'm not even sure how I would explain how to float to somebody, because I can't, for starters. That's part of it. I do not.
You extend yourself as far as you can to balance your weight.
That, but it doesn't work for me. I this from here up, from right here up, I float. The rest of me goes, so I end up kind of doing this in the water. I don't float at all. And I really ought to, right? I weigh 320 pounds. I should be able to go like this and take up a lot of space and float just fine, but I do not. I don't know. But between the two of you and the driftwood, you managed to save most of the mushroom people, but not all of them. You find yourselves on, your ship is full. Between the squad and you, the team, and your squirrels and the 60 some odd mushroom people you just saved the lives of, it's getting kind of cramped in here.
Yeah, well, he's gonna stay up in his crow's nest. He doesn't like how crowded it is on the deck. So the black spongy things that are swimming around, are they doing anything that seems nefarious or could cause damage?
They have definitely, so they swirled around each other, right? They kind of, and you notice that when they bump into each other, they immediately they're just drifting on their own. Right? It doesn't look like they have any degree of sentience until they hit each other. And then there's an immediate sort of wriggle, get away from me, man. And they both pull away. The first time one of them touches your ship, it doesn't get off of it. It sticks, and then it like a piece of fuzzy jello, a cube of jello is at the side of your ship, and then almost immediately turns into a splat of paint instead. It pushes itself onto your ship and becomes and over time, each of them will do that. They'll eventually find your ship onto the side.
I don't like that. So as soon as I see them do that, I'm going to start shooting all the others from the crow's nest.
Yeah, you bet. Sure. Joaquin's a pretty accurate guy, what with Eagle Eye and everything.
It's like fish in a barrel.
Yeah, right. Right. That even though you haven't closed the doors, you have cover and you came down. It's not like they can get away from you.
Yeah, and like I've got time to line up the shots too. It's not like I'm
I'm not gonna be rolled for that. You definitely can't shoot the one that's already touched the ship because you don't have line of sight on it anymore. But the rest of them you can totally get.
Okay.
On
the ship,
I
did roll. I got 3 6s. So
nice. Do you want to use the narrative twist anyway?
I would like. I mean, and you can tell me no if this isn't how this works mechanically, but maybe when one of them is floating by, or when one of the mushroom people that couldn't make it is like their body is floating by the ship, maybe they touch where the one splattered against it, and some of that attaches to them and off of the ship.
You end up with less of that goo on your ship.
Yeah,
sounds good. Sounds good. So as I'm picturing this as Charla and Konosai are busy scooping up mushroom people, right? Like drowning victims, like EMTs coming out of the helicopter, right? Joaquin's up there with his gun going. Jacob, what are you doing? Besides, relaxing with the pipe, of course.
Well, I'm not relaxing at the moment. I hear all this crap going on and I just yell really loud, "Shut up." Because I'm concentrating.
On what?
Trying to get everything situated with the ship.
I see.
And the small world ride behind me.
Like, pipe down. I'm trying
to. Oh, God. Not that again.
Small world?
So
I
once everything's kind of settled, Joaquin's definitely going to let everybody else know what happened with the one that splattered against the side of the ship. Because he doesn't trust it at all.
At all?
Yeah.
Not even a little bit?
Yeah, I feel like we need to get it off the ship.
You bet. Konosai, when you get everybody on the ship, you and Charla both, do you get on the ship after that?
Yeah.
Okay. When you climb up onto the ship, all of the mushroom people turn to you, take a knee, and bow. All at once, like a whole sea of them. They just fall in line.
That's weird.
Happy bound to you too, Your Highness.
And I will see everybody in 15 minutes.
All right.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
No, you're good. We just barely came back.
Okay, cool.
Woo!
That was impressive.
Wow.
How quickly you ate that.
Oh, thanks. Those were actually itty bitty bites. I was trying to be dainty.
Still, it was quick.
I can eat a sub like 4 times that big in half the time if I really want to.
Nice.
That was you being dainty.
Yes, yeah. Yeah. Like my wife was like, hand confirmed. That was him being dainty. Those were itty bitty bites. Like, yeah. Now I'm gonna have a complex. She thinks. Oh,
So I was gonna say, before anything else happens, like Joaquin's number one priority is to get that stuff off the ship. And I think Jacobite's predicting what I'm gonna do. Joaquin's gonna have the squad tie like ropes around their waists, as a normal crew would when cleaning a ship, like to kind of rappel down the side of the ship, and instruct them to clean that stuff off. And if they have like leather gloves or something that they wear, then to wear them and not to touch it, basically.
Okay.
What he's going to tell them.
You bet.
Then he's going to leave it alone and let you do whatever.
We send the whole crew down. Some of them.
Just a handful of the squad.
You bet. Charla, are you back?
I am back, yes.
Yay, very cool. So Kano Sahib, while Joaquin has the squad go off the side of the ship to clean that stuff up, you have like 60 some odd mushroom people who have just taken a knee all at once.
Are they speaking a language I can understand?
They have not said anything yet.
Okay, then I will speak to them and say, stand up. Don't do that, please.
You watch them all look at each other and look very, like their eyes blink. They look very confused. But they all do that and they all kind of murmur all at once, Savior.
Okay. You're welcome, but yeah, don't do that.
Like, you're creeping me out. Cut quick.
Yeah. Please don't.
Did they react at all to Joaquin, since he is also a gal, even though he looks different?
I don't know if they can see you up there. Can they see you? Do you think they can see you?
I figured that I would have come down whenever I instructed the squad.
Oh, then yes, they would do their best to address you too. Then yes.
Okay.
I guess what would have actually happened is they would have taken a knee for Kano Sahib, and then when she'd cut that out, they would have stood up, rotated to you, and did the same thing.
Okay. I'm not gonna tell them to get up.
They look confused, but do that. They stand up. But beyond that, they don't take any motions after that. They just sort of stare at you uncomfortably. Or maybe you love that kind of attention. I feel like if I had 60 some odd people staring at me, I'd be uncomfortable.
Joaquin's used to being the one trying to like be stealthy and not gain attention, so it does make him uncomfortable. I guess if unless Kanosab wants to do something, Joaquin can talk to them.
Nope. No,
Okay.
I'm good.
Then in the Gao language, Joaquin's gonna talk to them and just ask what's going on, like what happened.
They explained that it has been their great honor to maintain the prisoner. And over time, they decided they didn't really love that agreement. You watch them sort of skirt around. They're not saying they're not happy with their choice, but they're trying to without actually saying it. And that you have freed them from that obligation. Quite literally, savior. Pardon?
What was the prisoner?
They motion off the side of the ship and they go, we assumed you knew, you were shooting it.
Okay. So I was justified in killing all of that. For once. Okay. He's gonna ask if there's like, is there anything else going on? Is there more of those things around, or was that the only bit, or what?
No, this is but one portion of the station.
Okay, so there's more of this spread around this little community.
Yes, inside the great structure, there are countless more prisoners. We are but a small portion of the people dedicated to keeping them intact. We assumed you knew that. Why else would you have entered the containment unit?
Oh yeah, definitely. We knew that.
Definitely.
Why else would we be here? So Joaquin's gonna switch to whatever the common language is.
You bet.
And he's gonna say something like, ask a question. It doesn't even really matter, just a random question.
To see if they can,
just to see if they understand.
They look at you a little confused. You notice that their Gao language is a little rough around the edges. Either their dialect isn't quite the same, or they were still having a hard time understanding you. The words sound a little bit less refined. You're very confident they have no idea what the hell you just said. I don't know what you said. How's the weather? Whatever, but they definitely didn't.
Okay, so in common, I'm going to talk to the rest of the crew. And basically I'm gonna kind of sigh, and because one of my character drives is to solve problems in Gao settlements. And so I'm basically just gonna be like, I feel guilty not taking care of this for them. How do you feel about
people?
How do you feel about clearing out the rest of the prisoners?
How many other areas are there?
That's a good question. And then in Gao, I'm gonna ask them how many sections are there?
Oh crap! I had an answer for you a second ago too. He's gonna ask me this, and I lost it. Hold on, let's see. They go, well, you have presumably you came in through the mouth to get here. You are currently in the nose. There remains 2 eyes, 5 fingers per hand, 5 toes per foot. And we are only familiar with the vestigial exterior of the structure. We have no idea what's in the inside. Presumably more prisoners. It is our greatest enemy.
So are there more like you that are watching over those other prisoners, or were you just kind of like the main stopper to the rest of them getting out?
No, we were all bound to the prisoners. The prisoner needs something to feed on. And we are, and you hear a little deadpan, we are lucky in that it cannot consume us entirely. It's a stalemate. It is our honor to be pinned forever. And you catch just the tiniest little bit of contempt for that.
I'm going to switch back to common. So I feel like we probably don't want to spend the amount of time it would take to clear out all of that stuff. What if we take out like just a little bit of it and then find a way to arm these people so they can gather together and take care of the rest themselves?
There used to be saying in the pre-V about teaching someone to fish.
Yeah.
What's a fish?
Yeah, right.
I don't know.
Like, what's the old phrase?
Delicious.
Hand a man a campfire, he'll be warm for now. Throw a man at a campfire, he'll be warm for the rest of his life. Something like that. I've never understood that phrase. How do you hand somebody a campfire? Anyway.
So can you ask these people how we get out of here?
Yeah, I'll ask if they have any ideas on how we can get out.
You
In out.
use the tongue to have the water lift you back out into the mouth. And they point to the sluice gate.
Okay, I'll translate.
So there's a different sluice gate that'll rise the water up to where we can get out.
Right. Yeah, there's a like a pump channel thing. You definitely won't have to like blast your way out. It'll take you back into the mouth.
It's a segmented lock system.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. So
is that the only way out?
Okay, I'll ask them that.
It's the only way out. They say it's the only way out without going further in first.
So it's not the only way
Oh, this
out.
thing has a butt.
I was actually going to say earlier when we were talking about body parts, does this thing have an anus? Because we could go all the way through and kill everything we see.
And then
I'm gonna ask
it's
them.
shit
Might
out
be
the bottom.
shitty. It might be shitty, but you know.
I
What-
will ask.
Joke's
them,
on you. It's actually a cloaca. It's a lizard man. You
So
were
I
gonna
guess
ask
I
them?
guess I'll ask them like what the general structure is and if that's a possibility.
You bet. They take some of the dirt that you've washed inside some of the driftwood. They start kind of breaking it apart, and they draw a picture on the deck. And they show that the pool you were sitting in is actually the open mouth of a like what looks like a humanoid head, and the dome you are currently in is a big round nose thing. And there were two more like eye sockets presumably underneath the surface of the waves you were sailing, underneath all that thicket. And they kind of keep drawing it, so you're actually looking at what looks like some sort of great statue laid on its back. And they describe that throughout the entire thing, it's a great prison designed by the Gao. Once upon a time, they encountered the enemy, presumably the Black Rot, right? That eats everything except a specific kind of stone and them. So they built this giant container. They found a dead man, and they're not really clear on this. They say they found a dead man, and then they crammed themselves. They lined him with stone, and they took themselves and the enemy, and they deliberately gave themselves up like that to be like torches that never burn out. The nemesis, the enemy has it as its drive is to eat a thing like object A, burn it all up, and then go into object B. When they get onto one of the Gao, they can't go any further. So they just sort of agree to be pinned in place forever. What's 10,000 Gao if it means the rest of them get to live their lives without any sort of contaminant? Not to mention the rest of the world. The way they describe it, the enemy will eat anything. They look at Jacobite and kind of look at him like, you poor thing.
Okay. So I guess options are just.
Did you actually ask them if the man has a butt?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yes. They describe that as the emergency access hatch. That's something I never thought I'd say about a giant golem's butt.
So I guess I'll ask the group in comment. I'll ask like, do you want to just wait out the acid rain and then leave, or do you want to fight our way through this thing, shoot out the butt, and carry on?
I vote leave. Wait out the storm and leave.
I don't even know how to destroy this black ooze stuff, so I don't know.
That's a good point.
I mean, Joaquin does, right? You blew a bunch of it up earlier.
Would it not just recongeal after being splattered apart?
It might. You haven't been here long enough to find out, but it might.
Yeah.
That's a very good point.
Did we? I know we've encountered it once before with when we got our crew. I don't remember what we did to get it off of them. We
Yeah,
haven't
it was a
had any
while
other,
ago.
yeah, we haven't had any other encounters with black rot since then, have we?
No.
Okay, so I'm going to shout down to the squad that's cleaning up the side, ask them to scrape. I'm gonna lower a bucket, and I'm gonna ask them to scrape some of it into the bucket so I can raise it up.
You bet. You lower the bucket, you don't get any response.
Look over the side.
You bet. You have caustic skeletal remains of where your crew ought to be.
Oh, no.
And that black stuff is busy climbing its way up the rope, like eating it.
Okay, guys. We got a problem.
No. When you say we have a problem, the mushroom people immediately form a defensive line between you and the ret, like so that the black rot will touch them first. They express that it is their honor to meet it.
Question: does this stuff burn?
That's what I was going to test.
You watch them visibly go blah when you say the word burn, like they recoil. Like when you got one of those grandmothers that does all the lick, like they lick the lips a million times and they come in to plant one on you and you're like, ah, like that. Like the whole body goes, trembles and shakes.
So they know the word burn at least.
They do. And apparently it gives them nasty, nasty nightmares. And they go, blah, blah, but they don't actually say anything. They just sort of hiss and squeal.
Okay, so I'm going to find a torch.
Okay.
And I know it's probably going to freak them out, but I'm going to just have them part so I can go through. And whenever it's within reach, I'm going to reach down and like almost like putting a cigarette out. I'm going to like push the torch onto the black rot to see how it reacts.
It burns up. You kill it. The mushroom people freak and they pull away from you like crazy. Like they book it to other ends of the ship, and you watch them on the way there sort of look back and panic and freeze up and kind of take 2 steps forward you and then 2 steps away from you again. And they're clearly getting caught up between their want to save you, right? Save you, their want to protect you, and their hatred of fire. But eventually, I mean, you make up their mind for them, right? You kill the thing. At which point they immediately get like as close to the level, like they go as prone, as flat as they can. And they restate the word savior, and then they say the Gao word for invincible.
I'm just going to tell them, hey, you got to get over your fears. This is how you're going to solve the problem. We'll give you some torches, take them down through the body, and kill the rest of this stuff. Your savior commands you if that's what it takes.
If that's what it takes.
I'm gonna make them some flamethrowers.
Yeah.
You watch their mushroom arms come out and sort of like tremble at the idea of touching the torch,
and
but they do it.
I'll show them like how to properly hold it to where they won't get burned, and how they like the techniques that they need to use and stuff. The fire safety rules, essentially.
Yeah, right. They're like petrified little children who watched like one of the loved ones get like, they're not okay with this, but they do it, right? Every now and again, you have to reinforce that like you're invincible, and they're like, oh well, okay. I mean, that's invincible. Yeah, right. I see Jacobite has high hopes for this project, right? Yeah. Kano,
So
you're go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I guess I'll spend the time that it takes for us to wait for the acid rain to pass, training them on how to properly use the torches and light them and do all the fire safety stuff so they can take care of this stuff.
Sounds good. Konosub, you're a fellow Gao. Do you have any particular opinion in here?
You know, I actually have a bit of respect for them.
Because they're afraid of fire?
Well, because they actually chose to like sacrifice themselves, not once but twice.
Mm.
I think in regards to the fire, probably having it on a long stick might help them.
Yes. We can fashion the torches to where it's like extended or whatever, if that's
You're right. After you take an hour or whatever to walk them through basic fire safety, by that point the acid rain is here anyway. You can hear it outside. As soon as it starts to hit the roof, the mushroom people express that happens all the time during their paralyzed state. They weren't like in stasis or anything. They were aware of the passage of time. The building will hold. It will not be a problem. The stone's basically indestructible. That's why they why they edited the man to be filled with it. That reminds them. They go, wait, we have a treasure, but for the savior that we never actually thought was going to come. So that's exciting. Good news. We have something for you. And they look at you and Konosai together. They go, bad news. It's and they point
further in.
Yeah. Like it is our people's greatest treasure, and we would be deeply dishonored if you left without it.
I'll translate this for those that don't speak Gao.
Are they trying to like bribe and guilt us into helping them, or like are they being honest? I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Do you want to make some sort of roll for that?
Yeah, like what's the equivalent of an insight check in this?
Yeah.
I have no idea. Use whatever's on your sheet. What is that episode of Friends? I don't.
Where they
giant poke
Oh
device.
yes, yeah.
The
Ugly naked guy. Right. For me, the show wasn't the same after ugly naked guy moved away.
Yeah. I guess I'll use instinct.
Okay, sure. Yeah.
Yeah, that's really the only thing that's pertinent to this. So I'll just use instinct.
Sounds good. I mean, you can all roll it if you want, but anybody who doesn't speak the language is going to have to take a cut.
I maybe have sharps, but I have no people skills, so
I'm not rolling.
I don't think I should roll either. I don't think I would have any.
Okay, sure. Jacob,
well,
what are you doing while he's giving out his fire safety drill?
Partaking in a little fire and smoke.
All right. I love how they're clearly terrified of it. You're like, I use it for funsies.
I'm made of wood.
Right. Right. Charlotte, what are you doing during this whole fire drill?
Fashioning attempting to fashion a flamethrower, just in case.
No kidding.
I'm inspired.
You bet. Roll to manufacture that. Joaquin, what'd you get?
I got a 5 and a 3.
You bet. So you're pretty sure that they it comes across as genuine honesty, that they don't need you in the sense that like you need air to exist, right? But right below that, they need you to take this thing. Like it'll dampen their souls if you don't take it. But I mean, they will live. They won't actually die. You could leave without it.
I'm gonna ask them how far down it is.
Go, and they look a little sheepish. They go, we don't know. We only know that we were told to give the savior, should they arrive, that. And they point to what looks like a little green box, like the bright green that's on a Rubik's Cube, on a little cube that's twice the size of a D6, give or take. Nestled on the very round belly of the mushroom statue. And they go, we were just told to give the savior that, and that once held by the savior, it would tell them where the object was. The idea was to keep the in order to keep the enemy from spreading, each of us was put into a little separate kind of cone of development. So like presumably we are in the nose, the ones in the fingers, we don't know who they are. We don't know how to gain access to the fingers, that sort of thing. The inner workings of the machine are not ours to know for the safety of everybody.
But they are ours to know should we choose to proceed.
They are yours to know because you are the saviors and you are clearly invincible. Right. It is not a concern.
I mean, I'm kind of leaning towards getting whatever this object is. But if we go, it's basically like we have to commit, because once we start moving the ship down towards that, we have to just basically go through, because I don't think we can back it up.
Do we have to take the ship?
Was that a question for me or?
Yeah, I guess so. Like, is the whole
yeah,
area like filled with water for us to traverse, or is it like a pathway? What are we talking about here?
Right now, you're just looking at a big room with a statue in it. You don't see any egress at all, except the sluice gate you used to get down here in the first place. But the way they're talking, there must be some other way further in.
Okay, I suppose we could start with that then. How do we get further in?
We don't know. The key is supposed to show the way. We don't know. The key doesn't work for us.
So I guess we just have to take the key.
Yeah. So how far away from the ship's prow would that golden statue be that has the?
Maybe 60 feet, give or take.
Okay.
It's a pretty big room.
Yeah, I couldn't do what I wanted to do then.
Do you look like, while you're adding up how to get to it, do you think they can see that? Like, do you wear that you're thinking on your sleeve? You know, can they see that you're adding something up?
I would say probably in this case, because I'd like go to the front of the ship and kind of look to judge the distance and try to do some calculations. But...
You bet. They apologize for the stress and they hop off the ship and form a little floating land platform, like of mushroom heads. They float. Now that they're not panicking, right? They float and they just kind of hold themselves in place with a little land bridge of mushroom heads to walk on to get to the statue.
I'm just gonna look back at the rest of the crew and be like, okay, that was easy. And I'm gonna just hop over and use my wave walking abilities to just zoom right across.
You bet. As you step on the heads is occasional, but they do their very best to choke. You are stepping on the tops of their heads, right? But they do their best to choke that down.
I would like to think that my character's pretty light-footed.
I say, you bet.
He likes to travel along the treetops and
right
and vines and stuff like that. But yeah, I would still. There'd probably still be a couple of times where I'd have to put a little weight on there, but that would hurt.
So you zip across. Yeah, sort of like that. What was there's a Farley movie that I think you recommended, Big Trouble in Little China?
Beverly Hills
Ninja.
Beverly Hills Ninja. All right, sure. We watched Real Geniuses. It was good. It was funny. Val Kilmer is a funny guy. Isn't something he does all the time, is it?
Yep.
And it was a good time.
Yeah.
So you zip across, you climb up the statue. The key is, it's a little bright green cube about yay big. When you put your hands on it, it points an arrow up to, like an arrow lights up inside of it that points up towards the ceiling.
I'll look up.
You don't see anything. I mean, you see ceiling, right? But nothing unusual.
Am I able to like pull it out of the statue?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. It's just kind of like if I'm a fat guy who's got a bowl of Cheetos on my stomach while I'm playing video games. It's just sort of sitting there. Right.
Okay.
You pick it up. When you pick it up, the arrow like maintains its position as you move it. You're definitely looking at some sort of compass.
Okay. I'll just kind of hold it up back and look back at everybody. What do I do with this, guys?
So what the rest of you see is him glowing, the same color as the cube.
Okay.
But beyond that, the arrow is hard to miss, right? and it projects this big arrow towards the ceiling. The mushroom people hop up. Oh wait, no, they don't, because you need to walk back across. That's right. They would not dare to get out of the water until you were back on the ship safely.
We'll come back.
Okay. So Skimper.
You bet. You come across, the mushroom people get back on the ship. They look surprised. They go, we assumed that the treasure was further in. But again, we don't know how the cube works, and I suppose we don't actually know that the treasure is further in because we don't understand the inner workings of the structure. There is the light dome outside. No, that would be ridiculous. And you hear them start murmuring to each other. And eventually one sort of takes charge, kind of breaks free from the hive mind you've been dealing with so far, and says, no, look, if the cube says it's up, the key says it's up. And they all go, and they all sort of settle down.
So what was this about a light dome?
There's a light dome on top of this building. This whole time, I assumed it was there to harness light for some as yet performed ritual. As a Gao, we find a lot of value in sunlight. A lot of it, being able to control it specifically. The light dome has a lot of refracting mirrors in it. And they go on to explain what is basically the greenhouse effect. We get a bunch of light in, and then we control how much of it gets back out.
So how do we get up there?
Climb. There's a staircase. There was a staircase on the outside of the building, but I think it's a safe bet acid rain has damaged it over all this time. The light dome, really, I always thought the light dome really ought to be somewhere else, right? I realize that it needs direct access to the sky and all that. I get that. But still, a place with a never-ending supply of acid rain seems like a poor choice to put a very delicate thing. And all the other mushrooms look at him like he said something incredibly unacceptable.
Whenever I hear that, I'm just going to be like, he's got a point, guys.
And they all look very uncomfortable. Like, on the one hand, they want to hiss. On the other hand, you're invincible, right? So they can't.
This is to the crew in common. Like, do you guys want to see what this does whenever the acid rain's done, or do you want to just head out? Either way, we're going outside.
I guess we may as well see what it does.
Yeah.
It made you glow all green and stuff.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I was like, oh yeah. Huh.
Yeah, I guess so. How long before the acid rain's done?
They suggested it doesn't usually take that long. It's kind of rhythmic, really. You sit in one place for 1,000 years. You kind of get used to it.
How can we trust their sense of time, though?
You guys are 1,000 years old.
I mean, you might not be able to. If you've ever worked in a job where like you can't, like, you go in before the sun comes up and you go home before it goes down, like when you don't, not having direct access to the sky will absolutely fuck up your sense of time. So you probably can't trust their sense of time, to be fair. Nobody's gonna say anything.
I did. I was muted. Sorry.
So I guess we'll just wait out until the acid rain's done and get the ship out. And once we get the ship out, we can see what this thing does.
Sounds good. The Gao ask you what do they do?
You go liberate the rest of your people. We gave you the tools.
They sort of look at the torches. Oh, Charlo, what did you get for your flamethrower roll?
5, 5, 6, and 1.
You bet. So a 5-5, did you say? You got doubles?
Yes.
Did you have a narrative wrinkle you wanted to add? Wrinkle.
It heats up and it hurts. But
That's
it
not
heats
a
up.
wrinkle.
I thought you meant, when you said wrinkle, I thought you meant like a bad thing.
It doesn't
because
have
I
to
rolled
be.
a 6. Oh, okay.
6 is good.
Yeah, okay. Because I was like, the one, do I have to like mess up
No,
something?
it only, so the roll, it only matters the highest thing you rolled. That's it.
Okay. So
Which is why cuts are so bad.
in which case it does not heat. Like it sets fire to stuff and it works, but it doesn't, like, the parts itself don't heat up too bad, so they don't hurt. But it's definitely jerry-rigged.
Okay. Like if they break it, they can't replace it. That sort of rigged.
Yeah, kind of.
Okay.
It's definitely made from pieces of stuff.
Okay. Yeah. I'm picturing the Jawa weapons, right? They work really, really well until they don't, right? Yeah. Sounds good. So you hand this to them?
Oh, I was keeping it just in case we go further in.
I see. You bet. So the acid rain stops. The mushroom people, after, like, you stay here and purge the nemesis. After they look very uncomfortably at that assignment, they go, assuming we survive that, then what?
Live your lives.
Yeah, isn't that up to you?
Whatever you want.
You gotta the beginnings of a civilization here. You can go explore. There's a whole world out there.
Their eyes get like this big, because what you've just said is after whatever 10,000, 1,000, however long of you just like not really existing, you have infinite freedom of choice. You watch a little mushroomy brains go at the idea. They don't even really conceive of what that means, but they pick up the torches and try and, like, you watch them start searching the walls to try and figure out how to get to the next chamber.
Before they completely leave, I'm gonna see if there's like maybe 2 or 3 of them that are interested in coming along with us.
Really? Okay.
We did lose like 3 of our arm squad. So.
Oh yeah. Is that how many you sent out to the side of the ship? I was going to ask.
I said like 2 or 3 of the arm squad.
Okay.
Or
you bet. Was Vom one of them? Are you now free from having to buy a bucket of paint?
As much as I want to say yes, I feel like I have to say no.
I mean, that's a bet.
I would feel too guilty if I said that he was like having to do something I made a promise about. So yeah, I'll see if there's maybe like 2 or 3 that want to tag along with us. And before I actually do that, I'll ask the crew if that's okay. I'm not going to just make an assumption, but
fine with me.
I mean, you are down 2 alms. Okay. Oh God, you have a guy called Quam. You know that, right? Dom, Quam, right? Like you do in fact have a Quam, just one. Like
no, we don't. He just got burned to a crisp.
Not anymore, right? He's all like, see that caustically burned skeletal remnant? Yeah. That's what's left of my qualms. Right. That's
like that. I have no more fucks to give song.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it wouldn't be as if you sub out the word qualm for the word. I don't think it'll be as good. That's
so yeah, I guess as long as the crew is okay with it, I'll ask if there's just a couple of them that want to tag along with us.
Jacobite, how do you feel about having more mushroom people on board?
I'm all right with it.
Sounds good.
They can deal with the blight just in case.
There's not mushroom for them though.
And who knows what other like specialties they may have.
Yeah, you bet. You poke around, you ask. Most of them anyway, look at you with wide-eyed honor, really, that you've asked, but they ultimately say that they can't, even for you, they can't come. They'd love to go with you, but they can't prior to elimination of the blight. But you do find one gal who is absolutely up for it. He goes, do I have to wield the death stick? And he points at the torch.
I mean, that's up to you. When you're part of this crew, you can think freely. I mean, you can make your own choices. If you want to use that, you can. If you want to find a different weapon, go for it.
He goes, then then I choose no. He goes, and then he points at one of your guns and he goes, can I use one of those? And he kind of looks, kind of swings his head at where you had splattered a bunch of black crap all over the place. And he went, now that I could get behind.
I'm sure we could probably figure something out.
Right.
But you have to practice.
Yeah.
I know I can't speak their language, but I can tell what the motions were.
Yeah,
right.
Whenever he says that, I'll turn back to the guy and be like, you have to go through training with me first before I can okay you to use one of these. But eventually we'll get to that point.
He bows like 6 times in rapid succession and passes out from the idea of training with the invincible one. Like,
I'll after I revive him, I'll bring him on board and say, so what's your name?
We gave up our names and sense of individuality to be part of the great prison. I don't have one.
I'm gonna name you Mushy.
Mushy, huh? Is that what we're gonna call him?
In Gao, that means lives in a small room.
I see. Nice. I love how we've both established that he's got a mushroomy kind of cheesy nickname, and that mushy is in fact a word in the Gao language. That's great. Now I want, like, how do I say I want a sandwich in Gao?
Oh man.
Probably something sandwich. I see zididip. How do you? And now I need to know how you spell that. We can't play this game. I'm gonna have so many.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, we can, just not right now. So Mushy, it's an embarrassing name. Mushy agrees.
You could name him something else. I was just being silly.
No, Mushy's good. I love it. I just because I think a mushroom being made mushy might be a little embarrassing for that mushroom, but he's not actually a mushroom, is he? He's a Gao, and apparently it means lives in small room, which applies.
I'll tell him for now that's what we're gonna call him. Once he's passed his training, he'll earn the right to choose his own name.
Oh, fancy. Sounds good. So from here, the goal is to open the sluice gate, go back outside, and climb to the top of the dome.
Yes.
You bet. You wait until, you can hear when the rain stops, right? You use the sluice gate just like before, brings you back outside. There, you look around a little bit, there is an old staircase etched into the side of the dome over on the left side. And it's been worn with lots of rain. A lot of the steps are almost completely eroded, but you can walk up it all the same. Just watch your step.
I'm pretty good at climbing, so it doesn't bother me.
Yeah. Is anybody going with you up there?
That's up to them.
I will come with. I'm curious about how it works, and I will grab one of the vines and like use that as like a kind of like just in case I fall off.
I see. Kano-san, are you going with him?
I think I'll stay on the ship this time.
Okay. Jacobite, are you going with him?
Nope.
Nope. Because I'm in relax mode. No. I do a lot of this these days. I'm retired. So
Yep.
Hey, I have a question.
Yeah.
Does that mean that we've been in spit this entire time?
Maybe. Why would you ask me that?
Because it just dawned on me that if we were in the guy's mouth, that we're just like laying in spit. Ugh.
That's fantastic. So I'm keeping a record of great quotes from the table. Tables, not just this one, and that one's definitely going on the list. Provided context free to just the internet, right? And we were like, spit this whole time. That's great.
You'll have to give me that list so I can like recite it on the radio show that I do.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah. That'll be really cool. So you climb up to the top of this dome, and there is. I'm picturing it. You remember the like rooftop gardens from Assassin's Creed? Wooden. It's got like little white cloth sheets in the middle, like that, but with what looks like a reinforced wooden and metal dome outside of it, like an igloo with a very small igloo with one of those inside of it.
Okay.
When you get near it with the key, the dome sort of melts away, letting you step inside of it. Inside the little rooftop garden thingy is a small metal box with a glass panel on one side of it that has what appears to be a skeletal hand reinforced with metal parts. Like if somebody burnt off like a gauntlet, like Tony Stark's gauntlet, really.
Mhm.
But you can see most of the skeleton inside. And it's going like this.
It's actually moving.
It's actually moving. Yes.
I don't know about that.
Well, that ain't creepy at all.
I guess I'll very slowly like inch towards it
Okay.
just to see, like very cautiously. And like
Okay.
I got one hand on my revolver ready to
You
go.
would shoot their most treasured possession, their entire society's most glorious treasure. You would shoot it.
If it tries to kill me, hell yeah.
He's like, you bet I would. Culture be damned.
Yeah.
Right? You bet.
So
It does.
I'll-
as you get closer, it doesn't like jump at the panel or anything. It continues
Yeah.
to do that.
Okay, I'll just keep inching closer, and I'll tell Charla, hey, you might want to like stay back a little bit just in case something happens. I don't know what's gonna happen,
Alrighty.
and just slowly approach.
You bet. Nothing happens.
Does the hand stop, or does it keep summoning me even though I'm there?
I mean, how close are we talking? You pressed your face up against it? I mean, how?
No, like I would say that I've probably stopped like 2 feet in front of the box.
Yeah, no, it continues to, but it doesn't stop or freak out or nothing. The whole box is about yay big. It's not very large.
But there's a whole hand inside of it.
A small one, but yes, whole.
Oh, like a miniature hand. Okay.
Right. Like a wee baby hand. You know that time Deadpool got his hand blown off and in the movie he was missing running back? Like that.
Yeah.
Only it looks like it's been like, it has half seared metal plates on it in places. Something ugly happened to it. One, it's missing all of its skin. And two, it's got like what looks like seared on because parts of the bone around where the bits of metal are black. Looks like they've been like burnt onto it.
So does the box look like it's attached to anything, or does it look like it's just sitting on top of like a
Just sitting on top of. You could absolutely pick it up and walk away with it. There, just as described inside this little garden thing, there's all kinds of little mirror panels and everywhere. Some of them look like they could spin, like they rotate in place. Others don't.
Yeah.
And the dome that you magically made go away with your cube was also mostly reinforced mirror.
Okay. I am going to use my fungal tendril because if I lose that, I can grow another one eventually. I'm going to use the fungal tendril to kind of snake around and just very gently touch it and see if anything happens.
You bet. You touch it. The hand breaks free from the box, the glass panel, and attempts to scurry away from you as fast as it can down the set of stairs.
Okay.
Get it.
Sting.
I mean, I try to go after it, I guess. Does it go by Charla?
It does. Charlie, do you want to try and take a swipe at this thing?
Try and grab it before it runs past me, sure.
Sure. Yeah, roll for it. It moves pretty fast. Not Sonic the Hedgehog fast, more like hyperactive kitten fast. So
what are
actually,
those?
that is kind of Sonic the Hedgehog fast, isn't it?
I rolled a 5.
Nice, you bet. So you grab the thing. It immediately the bone rots away into nothing, but the mechanical components, the little metal bits, sink into. So you're holding it, right? And the skeleton rots away, which makes the panels fall onto you. Do you want to try and jerk your hand away from that? Or are you okay with little bits of semi-burnt metal touching you?
I think she'll be fine with that.
Okay, yeah, you bet. Would you make what amounts to a Constitution save? As an intense feeling of searing pain washes over your entire body, emanating from where that touches you.
Oh boy. How do I do that? Oh,
I'm not
iron,
sure.
probably.
There you go.
2 3s.
Ooh. Do you have a mechanical twist you want, a plot twist you want to add in, as the searing pain grants you a series of visions? You get an immediate understanding of where that black rot came from. You get a picture of what looks like a mushroom, a gao, right? Flat, very much like the ones you just saw, very flat lily pad type heads in the past. Perhaps the first gao after the great cataclysm that made us go from privy to where you are now. And it looks like you see probably the first Russian person come out of the damp slop after everything settled, the Wildsea, right? And this gal finds what looks like a little electronic diode or something. It's leaking oil and sparking, and he touches it, and this black goo hand rises out of it and wraps its hand over his face. And then there's a series of impressive, painful moments. And then he looks kind of like the Terminator mushroom, right? Glowing eye, just one of them though. Lots of little mechanical bits and bones protruding out of him. And from that, the Gao split. From that lesson, the Gao abandoned most and eventually all technology that was electronic. And today you're left with that thing, presumably the hand the hand that was destroyed belonged to either that Gao or the creature that attacked him. The plates that are on you won't actually hurt you. You're really suffering the con save from the brain overload, which has an immediate effect on your physical form because you have a mechanical arm. There's an exchange there.
Okay.
But you're not in any danger or anything.
Okay.
Do you have a twist you want to add?
No, I can't think of any. If anyone else can think of any, that might be good. That'd be cool, but I don't.
Can't think of
Anybody? You bet. You know that you have, I don't want to say you know that today the Gao's greatest threat has been let loose upon the Wildsea. As you watch the black dust from that was the hand blow away in the wind.
I am going to relay all of this.
Well, crap.
So maybe I shouldn't have touched it.
Really, that's a lesson we're going to take away from this? Not we shouldn't have picked up the box? Really?
I think maybe we should probably just head back to the ship and tell them what happened, or maybe don't tell them what happened.
You watch the mirrors inside the building spin. With the wind comes a lot of extra sunlight, almost like it's caught on the wind, like a cyclone of sun. Spirals, yeah, like that. Spirals and catches the mirrors. They spin, and a beam of light shoots out of that rooftop dome and hits Joaquin in the chest. Joaquin, pick any 2 skills, either ones you have or don't have, and increase them by 2 ranks.
Oh, sweet. Okay. I'll do that on my downtime. That's
Sounds good. You're out once you choose, right? I realize you're going to choose after, but in that moment, once the wisdom is bequeathed upon you, your green glow dies and the cube vanishes.
Gotcha. Cool.
And Jacobite's gonna be like, Jacobite, you watch the little tiniest, I guess you and Conosite both watch the little tiny spits of black soot come off the top of the building.
A mini miasma.
Right, a mini miasma, right. Briefly spin once, and as it does so, become a much larger skull made of miasma, and then dissipate into the wind.
And then a giant burst of green energy.
Yeah, right. Then a shriek, and then a great disturbance in the force. Right.
Checking to make sure I got the right stuff in my pipe.
Like, I was expecting one of those two doing up there.
Yeah, after all that happens,
Mhm.
when looks like there's not gonna be anything else happening, I'll suggest that we head back to the ship.
That's a good idea.
You get back to the ship. Now what? Do you tell everybody? You just
So little problem.
itty bitty.
We may have just unleashed some sort of ultimate death upon the world.
Tuesday, right?
And then I'll tell them exactly like what happened when we were up there, and we're like touching the thing, the box goes away, the hand dissipates and all that stuff. She gets the knowledge and I get hit with a light. So they know everything.
Okay.
Well, is there anything we can do about it?
Pragmatism.
Just keep going and hope that it doesn't cross our path.
I mean, if there was a clear path to ending it, then I'd say let's give it a shot. But
I mean, the only clear path is to burn the whole world down.
Where's
We'll
Ty when
probably-
you need him?
we'll probably end up doing that.
And Joaquin looks over at Napales and he's like, don't get any ideas.
Nopales is busy looking at Charlotte's flamethrower, like.
We'll probably end up doing that eventually anyway.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
So, to the vault.
Yep.
To the
Yeah.
vault. I mean, you still know where you're going, right? So you get from here, you use some water, you maybe use the grappling guns, however you get out of here, you do, right?
Mhm.
What option do we go with? Do we damage the mouth hole?
Well, we're not pressed for time, so I don't feel like we need to. Since the acid rain's gone.
You bet. So you delicately remove yourself from the mouth hole
As delicately as can.
that may or may not contain either rainwater or spit or both. And
Right.
from there, you leave the tropical thicket with a bug to the size of my head.
Yeah.
And be on your way towards the vault, which you come across the landing platform of in record time. I mean, you know you're going, right? The acid rain is usually sort of the end of bad weather for a time. So again, we go from a really pleasant day into acid rain of death, back to really pleasant day. The weather is calm. There's almost no wind, which is good, I suppose. In that there's nothing moving the smells around you. So kind of when you start to smell something, it's exactly where it is. There's no disillusion about it being moved around or whatever. And you come across a large collection of ships. We're talking 50, maybe more, all attached to each other, like a big floating city of ships. And from the masts, you can tell that they formed a big ring that's 2 ships deep, right? 2 rings of ships. And there's a great, what looks like tree that they've deliberately lifted that is either so large it has grown taller than the rest of the Wildsea, which does happen. But it looks like it's steadily getting taller. And you hear the yells of maybe hundreds of people. It sounds like they're doing a barn racing. They're all, and they're lifting this thing. You're definitely at your coordinates. You see lots of banners on the sides of the ships. It looks like one part town, sure, but one part war camp, like sides have been drawn. You can see banners with Travain's face on them. The Jax guy who ran into, it looks like he's got a stake here too. He's got his symbol on a couple of the banners. There's a bunch of banners from companies you may or may not recognize. Roll for that if you want to. But all in all, you're looking at 6 different war camps, as it were, that have all been lashed to each other. Basically, like if you blow up our ship, you die too, right? We've all sort of agreed to struggle until one of us wins, type thing. The tree they're lifting, you're gonna need like all those men to lift it. You're here. What do you want to do?
Do we know why they're trying to lift the tree?
Not yet.
I don't know. Jacobite, this is all you.
You're the one piloting the ship. What do you want to do?
We haven't reached the flotilla yet.
Yes, that's what I was looking for. Thank you, Flotilla. Yes. Yeah, you're the one piloting. You tell me how close you want to get before you stop.
I know what you're thinking now. Go for it.
Bill.
It would be on
Is that what I'm looking at behind you? Is that like that looks like hundreds of ships, maybe?
Yeah, it's a massive flotilla of little small ships.
No kidding. Why do people do that to each other?
I think it's kayaks, actually.
Yeah, those are probably kayaks.
Must be Austin.
Texas?
Probably not Austin.
Is that a thing they do in Austin, Texas?
I was just making a joke because there's like a river that goes through Austin, and there's always people on kayaks and paddleboards and stuff in there.
Oh yeah. I've kayaked. It was fun. So long ago that I guess now they make kayaks you sort of sit on instead of kayaks you sit in, and I'm not. Somehow that feels less safe to me. Anyway.
Yeah.
One of these days, I'm gonna get a fishing kayak. I think.
What's different from a regular kayak? A spot to keep the fishing pole?
They're a little wider, a little flatter bottomed, and sometimes they have pedals.
Pedals? Really? Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
I don't know if I needed to be. I probably need to be wider, right?
Yeah. My buddy's is like 3 foot wide, so
wow.
I was like, well, that's a fairly solid base. I could probably make that work.
Yeah. So how close are you to this city or ship?
Well, I think we start talking as soon as we see what's going on. So however far away that is.
Okay, it's pretty big, right? It's real noticeable.
I'm gonna make a suggestion.
I'm thinking it is visible at least within 300 feet, at the very, very least. You know?
And do we recognize anyone's colors or flag or whatever?
You recognize Jax, the info broker you ran into before.
Okay.
And you also recognize a bunch of the gray market symbol. Trevaine's got a stake in here too. You don't see him, but I mean, there's a bunch of ships there. Some of them are the size of your ship. Some of them are humongous. Some of them have big, and they've got all their fronts pointed towards the tree, right?
Mhm.
So all their reach forward, grabby, rippy bits, right, are pointed towards the tree. A lot of you don't hear I imagine if you've got like an engine in your ship that makes noise, the ships look like they're all pulling in reverse on purpose. Like they're all trying to presumably eat this giant tree. But that means you don't want to go forward because you'll hit the damn thing. So they're all pulling forward, backwards all at once, all the time, as just more and more tree comes up. You look. So some of them are, single story. Some of them are basically floating buildings. Some of them are huge. Trevane and I forgot his name again. Trevane and Jax are both.
Jax.
That you don't see them, but you do see more than a couple of ships with each of their symbols on them.
So how did you say one of the ways to solve the whole black dust problem was?
Fire is one way.
Burn down the world?
I mean, I didn't say that.
Well, we do still have a little bit of drugs left. And we do have a blast bow. And they are all tied together. Just saying.
Yeah, I knew that's where you were going.
I'm just throwing it out there. I mean, I'm piloting the
but
ship, but I'm not the leader, or I'm not necessarily the sole dictator.
there must be a reason that they need so many ships to pull this thing, and there must be a reason why they're pulling it. So I say we should probably figure that out first, maybe.
Fire could be big enough to just burn the tree out of the way.
Also possible.
Oh, where's the ash gonna go?
Down in the sky. I don't know. I'm just making a suggestion.
There is also the possibility that all of the trees around these ships, catch fire.
Also possible.
Which would burn towards us. I mean, I'm not saying no, but thinking of all the scenarios. I don't know. Joaquin, after what happened with the black dust and all that stuff, Joaquin's gonna excuse himself from this decision because he doesn't want to make another world-changing or possibly dooming choice.
The mushroom people were a little bit weird. Maybe the whole thing was a hallucination. Who knows? What do you think, Kanosai? Sounds like Jacobite's he wants to fully don't start none, there won't be none. Trigger and just blow him to fuck. Let's see what happens.
I'm of the mind that we should probably ask what's going on before we commit to anything, but
there's that voice of reason again. Okay, sure. So we've got one vote for, I'm not getting into this one vote for blow him to hell, one vote for let's talk to him. Charlotte, what do you think?
I'd also said I think we should talk to them.
I see. So on the Jacobite, on the one hand, it sounds like you're outvoted. On the other hand, you are piloting the ship. So I mean,
I'm not close enough to the gun to do anything though. So
I see. I meant, I think if they want to get closer and talk to them, I feel like, you have to move the ship, or you can yell really loud from here and hope they hear you over all of their own yelling.
I would like to make a little circuit around and see if our old captain is around.
You bet. You do a safe distance perimeter check, right? And you do find that, remember the town you blew up, you find what looks like a very sad and burnt version of the ship you saw before. It looks like your captain is here. Not only that, he has a small army of backup. You count 8 ships that all share what looks like a human's mouth, right? But where the teeth have been replaced with big, sharp, jagged, and definitely painted silver to look like metal teeth. And they, in very crude, sort of like orcs from Warhammer, it says slag tooth painted over the side of it.
Now I'm leaning a little bit more towards burning everything.
Well, we at least need to get to the other side and stay as far away from him as we can.
Yeah.
So maybe we go back around and talk to Jax. We were friendly with him, right?
Ish.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
So yeah, let's do that.
Sounds good.
I guess.
Sounds good. Jax is not a guy who's light on heavy on subtlety here, right? They're just big ships that say Jax on them, right? Like he's not being particularly subtle.
Yeah.
The ship that is on so there's 2 rings of ships here. The one that is closest to you that you could gain reasonable access to, that's on the bottom, looks like it's currently under attack by some slag tooth ships, and it's being fired on by them. Small pellets. It's only if they miss, they're only gonna hit, they're gonna blow some of the water up. We're not talking big damage here. Even if they don't miss, they're gonna take a long time to deal noticeable lethal damage to the ship. but it looks like everybody sort of agreed to a mutually assured destruction type thing. So slow and steady is probably more okay than giant cannonballs. That said, it is easier to kill somebody without making a big, without blowing up a ship if you shoot them personally. So they are currently being boarded.
Jax is currently being boarded, or the Slagtooth?
Jax is currently being boarded by some of the Slagtooth men. Some of these Slagtooth ships you can see them with big pilot cannons aiming back and forth out towards, not necessarily where you are specifically, but out towards the Wildsea, away from the tree work. It's a nice clear day, which means you have line of sight, but it also means so do they. They're also higher than you, the cannon ship, anyway. How close? I mean, if you come right in to help the Jack ships, you risk being seen and presumably shot at. Since you're not part of the big ring of ships, I don't know as if you get the safety of the whole, we won't shoot each other with giant ordnance. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
And this location that we're at is the location where they said that the vault was, correct?
Yes. Somebody here, you don't see like a giant building that should be a vault or something. But it's also the only time you've ever watched like this many people get together who obviously don't like each other to lift a giant tree up out of the Wildsea and like consume it all in real time. Like one of those giant forest killing machines. There's my inner eco person getting upset. Did I say forest killer? I meant tree clipper or something.
The chipper.
Yeah, right. You know what I mean? That terrifying monstrosity from the Fern Gully movie. Which apparently is a real thing. I
don't know. I kind of want to find a way to sneak aboard old captain's biggest ship and sabotage it somehow, or at least board Jax's ship and help him fight. This is me just talking to the others. I just don't know.
Or should we dive down and go under everything?
Oh,
I know that we risk things falling on top of us, but if we stay out a little bit, maybe we can get to a point where we can see under.
Go under with the ship, or you like hop off the ship, go underneath the waves?
No,
and
take the ship down.
Oh, okay.
And at the very least, we'll be below them, and we could maybe sneak up.
Yeah,
ourselves.
I'm okay with that.
Okay.
So,
Alrighty.
maybe go down. What?
Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, so maybe go down a couple levels.
Sure. Conoside, what do you think? Sounds like we want to take the whole ship below the waves and leave them to solve their, fight their battle.
I mean, it's worked for us before.
Yeah, that's a good point. You bet.
Regardless of which path we take, like this feels like the safest option going forward.
You pitch the ship forward, so the consumer box on the front, chainsaws, rippers, whatever it is, catches the waves and pull, down you go. Right. And you go through a couple layers of branches and you see how come they're busy picking up the tree. The tree is enormous. It's one of the ever trees. They're going to have to essentially eat it until it's completely gone to keep it from growing back. That will keep them busy for quite a while. That tree is huge. You're looking at thousands of feet of it, like redwoods don't even begin to compare. But you can see why they're picking it up. Way down underneath it, looks like they're picking it up off of a humongous building like the one you were in before, way back there, but it like the kind of thing that might contain a city, but this one doesn't look like it's got a pad, a digital lock on it or anything. It's a little bit smaller than the one you were in before, and has the word vault stamped on the side of it with periods between each of the letters. And I will see you in a week.
All right.
There is nothing between you and it.